We call this storyline the World Soul Saga.
Hello everybody, my name is Nathan, this is Azerothian, and I wanted to record this video because since Chris Metzen came up on that stage and announced the World Soul Saga and the War Within coming, I cannot think about anything else. I've been trying to engage again in Dragonflight, but it hasn't been the same. So to ease up my anxieties, I wanted to sit down and make my wish list for the War Within. Okay, so the first thing I really want to see some improvements in are how the stories are told, how the characters are fleshed out, and the whole care and attention to details that they can put into developing stories and arcs. I really don't want the War Within to be another expansion where all the side quests are more interesting than the main quest lines. I don't want to be disappointed with old beloved characters being portrayed poorly or underdeveloped. I hope that having Chris Metzen back at the helm of the narrative team would solve, if not all of these problems, at least most of the problems. My concerns in terms of character development and stories comes when you think about an expansion that we're going to have very iconic characters in the center of the narrative, like Thrall, Anduin, Illyria, maybe Khadgar as well. So when you look back and think how characters like Rathian or even the dragon aspect they were developed in this past expansion, you know, it makes me feel a little bit uneasy that how they're going to deal with these. But I really wish that they learned a lesson. I really think that they deserve this credit. I hope that the story plays out very differently, especially when they're introducing the Earthen as a new allied race. I think the Earthen, for what they could tell where they're from and how they came to be, they are a very special link between our story and the Titans, because these dwarves, they have been inside of the planet for ages and ages. They were also very close to the Titans' edicts and everything. I think they might be a very good prep or a build-up looking at the Midnight expansion or even the Last Titan with the whole Titan conspiracy. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there for developing interesting stories and characters. I really hope they're not just some addition, just some background race for us to hang out in their cities in the new expansion. And we also have the Arathi, which here they're, for what we could see, they are very tied to the light. They originated, you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I know that they originated most of the human societies that we have today. So that's another opportunity to give more information and background to fill the voids and the spaces and the stories. And I really wish they're not just some hook so Anduin can work his dealings with the light, or the fact that he doesn't call the light anymore or something like that. I really wish Blizzard knows how to take this opportunity and give us more and more in terms of interesting stories and arcs for the characters we like. Now moving on to more practical things in the game, I really want them to learn with their mistakes with the whole returning player experience, new alt experience with Dragonflight. I understand that the way that the game works now for endgame and people who just got to level 70, they had a good intention. They wanted everything to be accessible from the beginning, no time gates, no requirements. You don't have to do one campaign to get to the other one. But this openness ended up being very, very overwhelming. Even for people who played the main quest lines, and you know, whenever you get to level 70, your map and your screen is flooded with NPCs calling you out to do stuff. Alexstrasza has like at least 3 or 4 main quest lines for you, and they all happen in very different moments of the story. It's very, very confusing and overwhelming for everybody who has a new character, because you don't know where to start, you don't know what's important, and it's just really, really messy. And a solution they had in Shadowlands, that we could use this idea and improve this idea. Whenever you were leveling up a new character from level 50 to level 60, as soon as arrived in Arbos, there was an NPC that would come to you and ask if you wanted to replay the campaign, or you could choose to level up your character just with bonus objectives, side quests, and world quests. You know, in the spirit of the warband and all the alt friendliness and account-wide everything, as soon as you arrive in the new zone with an alt, maybe use a bronze dragon or come to you and ask if you want your character to be brought up to the current days that your warband is in. And all these objectives, they would either be organized in a more clear and less out there way, or they would just be wiped out, and then you could just play your alt like you play your main, as if the campaigns are completed, the main quest lines are completed, and you don't have to, you know, keep playing again the same quests again just because you want the map not to phase like it happens in Tal Dresses. When you have an alt, if you go to the mega dungeon door and you didn't complete the Bronze Dragon Flight leveling campaign, you're going to be phased from your friends who did complete because the map changed. So I think these kind of design problems could be solved with phasing and warbands. And still talking about gameplay, I think world events were a great addition to Dragonflight, and they're most likely are going to push this idea forward into the next expansions. But I think with the pace they are implementing them and how they work, how they spawn, and their purpose should be revisited. So my wish for world events is that they find a way to make them important and something that is more eventful and something that we could actually look forward to. I think if they start dealing with world events like they're doing with world quests, like spawning 2 or 3 times a week only, of course, this would require some adjustment of the rewards and everything. If they happened less often and offered more interesting rewards that were up to date with patches, this would become an actual event that people would expect and wait for. And also the player base wouldn't be scattered as it is now, because we have so many events happening at the top of the hour and in half hour that people are separated and scattered around the map doing different things all the time. And the fact that this happens every hour, 24 hours a day, it kind of takes away, you know, the expectation and the whole magic of it. I'm a bit of a sucker for professions in MMORPGs, and I really like that Dragonflight turned it up a little bit and made the whole fantasy of playing a profession more in depth, and we even have the profession equipment, and I really love all of this. I really like the fact that the profession can actually be a bigger part of my character. However, I think we still need to improve this mechanic a lot. And my wish for professions going into the War Within is that first, the whole talent tree thing, it should be a little harder to fill. When they announced professions in Dragonflight, they sold as the specializations would be something really hard to achieve. So I even considered talking to guild members. If I am a tailor and I'm going to specialize in boots, we're going to need people to specialize in something else. But the reality was that even before Season 2 ended, most of the people were already with their talent trees filled with all of the points, all of the specializations. And I was the one of them, and I wasn't even trying that hard. I wasn't farming every single point every day. I just happened to drop the points every week while I was doing world map activities. So it wasn't as hard as I thought it should be, just to give that choice more meaning and more weight. The second thing that I wish they tackle in the next expansion is better way to communicate crafters and their clients. I think we are in desperate need of something like a board where you could register your crafter, and then you have a little profile or something that people who were looking for a crafter could see what you're specialized in, what are the things you can do better, maybe the frequency you've been logging in and out, how many working orders you have filled already, some kind of information that could help us to send the crafter a direct message or even post something on your profile. Something that would make this whole communication easier, because let me tell you something, the whole trade chat spamming for crafting and looking for work, it just doesn't work. It's, it doesn't help the whole fantasy. It's not practical. I don't think it's working. And speaking of gameplay, we have something that it was very, very promising, which are delves. I wanted to talk about my wishes for delves because it triggers me something not really pleasant when I think about delves, okay? When I think about them, I remember the promises on Torghast and the differences that Torghast had from the alpha and beta to the release, and horrific visions and island expeditions. All of these were supposed to be fun, engaging, and meaningful casual play, free to play by yourself or with, maybe with a couple of friends. And every single of them failed this promise. I think Blizzard has earned some confidence and some level of trust from us to know that they're probably learned from their mistakes. But my biggest wish for this is that delves can deliver everything that they promised. The key thing here that I think it should be challenging, not like Mage Tower challenging, but at least to give us some will to go there again and try it again and improve it. I really like the idea that you're gonna find gear to improve brand and he's gonna help you. I really wish that delves doesn't end up being just something that people are gonna go there and get it over with in 2 weeks and never gonna do it again. And speaking of expectations, I think hero talents from everything that we have in this pool is the one that I feel that people are going to be the most disappointed at. Not because I think Blizzard is going to do a bad job with it, it's just that I've seen around on Twitter and I think people are expecting way too much of this. I really wish that hero talents were the class skins that we always wanted, but I think this is more of a solution for them not to add another 10 levels for our class builds. My wish for hero talents is that they are at least giving us some flavor. It's probably not going to be as much as we wanted, but at least some flavor. I play Mage and I really want to see the difference between Frostfire and Spellslinger. Are the abilities going to be different? How impactful this gameplay is going to be. If they're probably not going to deliver us the class skins that we want, at least I think the gameplay should be somewhat different and impactful. I still had some other items on my list. I want to mention that I really wish they started introducing more supporting specs, so we don't have only augmentation evokers, but I really don't think this is happening anytime soon. So this was my wish list for the War Within and the World Soul Saga. Let me know in the comments what items are in your wish lists. What do you want to see? What do you think they should improve? What you don't want to see maybe? Don't forget to like and subscribe if you got to this point of the video. Thank you very much for taking your time to watch this, and I'll see you next video.